Right, well, we will go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Cheyenne Maddox. I am the Senior Manager for Communications at the Prime Secretariat, and I'm joined here by my colleagues Aurelian Decamps and Estella Pills from Sulitest, as well as Alison Bailey from the University of Sussex Business School. And today's webinar is meant to introduce Task, a new tool by our partner Sulitest that we're making available to Prime signatory members. We recently announced a partnership to help support measuring and monitoring sustainability knowledge amongst students. And so we're happy to offer this specifically to our members. And I will pass it over to our colleagues. And just to let you all know, this is being recorded and we will share the recording as well as all of the slides that you'll see today. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat or the Q&A box and we'll have time to answer those at the end. But I'll pass it over to Aurelian for now.
Thank you very much, Cheyenne. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone, wherever you are. And thank you very much for Prime for hosting this webinar and inviting us to share about Task, the assessment of sustainability knowledge, which is the flagship tool from the Sulitest movement that we launched a couple of years ago. So my name is Aurélien Descamps. I am the co-founder of Sulitest. Very quickly, my background is having been an academic for about 15 years and a sustainability advocate, trying to leverage my academic position to advocate for the integration of sustainability in higher education and beyond. And this is in that context that I co-founded Sulitest as a vehicle to accelerate this movement and to support higher education in this transition. So the very starting point of Sulitest was really to acknowledge that almost all sustainability challenges come from human decision, often taken in a professional context, and quite often by people holding a degree from higher education, and sometimes by business schools, which I know are well represented in the Prime network. So this is why we have launched Sulitest a couple of years ago. And you can go to next slide, please. With this core mission to mainstream sustainability literacy. We want to make sustainability the new mainstream, not only a subject for activists or experts, but everyone should have basic sustainability literacy to be able to take informed decision and to connect sustainability to one's own expertise or job. So we have launched this Sulitest movement with this purpose, and we have gained some recognition, UN recognition with 3 UN accreditations. We are reporting to the UN High-Level Political Forum to Advanced Education for the SDGs, and over 800 institutions from something like 60 countries have been using our tool for about 10 years. We have engaged with a lot of stakeholders from the academic field, such as students' organization, accreditation, ranking bodies, academic networks, and of course, this includes our long-term relationship with Prime to achieve this mission of really making sustainability a common language for all the decision makers. And this is in that context that we have launched Task, our flagship tool that we will talk about today. We know we are in a specific moment. The movement has grown over the years. A lot of things are currently happening in the landscape of higher education. If you look at international surveys, a lot of students want to learn more, to be better trained for sustainability. A lot of ranking, accreditation, or quality assurance body are integrating sustainability requirement. Prime is a long-term actor in this movement, but I'm sure you're well aware that EQUIS did its Chapter 9, then AACSB launched its Societal Impact Standard in 2020, and a lot of rankings and ratings such as THE Impact rankings, QS Sustainability rankings, Positive Impact Rating, and so on and so forth are integrating sustainability requirement. And I'm also quite sure that in almost every business schools at the moment, there is this reflection, this work to redesign curriculum, to figure out how do we truly embed sustainability into our curriculum and our pedagogy. So that's great. That's the movement is really accelerating. We do think at Sulitest that there is a kind of missing piece in that puzzle, which is the one we are trying to address and to achieve. Next slide, please, with our tool. And this one is about assessment. How can we use assessment and leverage assessment to track progress and to leverage everything that we are doing in business school and in higher education institution to mainstream sustainability literacy. More specifically, how can you, as a business school, assess, pilot, and demonstrate, assess that your students have a sufficient level of understanding and knowledge about sustainability to connect that to their skills and their competencies? How can you use reliable data to pilot your transformation, to inform pedagogy, develop the best pedagogy, and inform your curriculum change? And how can you demonstrate and track progress with, again, reliable data to different stakeholders, which includes accreditors, rankings, but also potential candidates or recruiters for the graduate. Next slide, please. This is for that purpose that we have launched Task, the assessment of sustainability knowledge, 1 year ago. So Task is our new and flagship tool today. This is the first standardized tool to monitor the level of sustainability knowledge of your students and to provide you with robust, reliable, and comparable data on the sustainability knowledge and understanding of your cohorts. So really Task is about assessing knowledge, for example, at the beginning and at the end of a program in order to gain a good visibility on your cohort at different points in time, to pilot your pedagogy and curriculum change, leveraging those data to inform all the decisions that you are probably currently taking for changing your curriculum and to demonstrate your impact to different stakeholders. Task is also issuing a certificate for your students to be able to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding of sustainability. Next slide, please. So what is it about? Of course, sustainability knowledge. What is sustainability knowledge? Is not a stabilized domain of knowledge. There are plenty of ways of approaching sustainability. So the first step for Task was to involve multiple stakeholders in defining what is our domain of sustainability knowledge, what we consider the knowledge and understanding that anyone should have before taking a decision. So we came up with this domain of knowledge with 3 embedded and interconnected frameworks. We consider that anyone should know about the fundamental of Earth system, climate, biodiversity, but also all the other planetary boundaries. Everyone should know about the social foundations of human welfare. We were really inspired by the Sustainable Development Goals, of course, and also the donut from Kate Raworth here. And everyone should know that in between, we, as human, we have agency. We can act. We have levers that are opportunities to act on sustainability through 4 main levers, through governance, economy, science and technology, individual and collective action. So this is this systemic perspective of sustainability that we are conveying with Task and assessing with Task. We have documented, and we can share, of course, all the relevant documentation, this domain of knowledge. What is important for us is that we should know the basics and the fundamentals, and we should know that everything is connected. This is why out of those 3 main framework, which are divided into 28 subjects, we are assessing 4 types of knowledge: key concepts, what are we talking about? Order of magnitudes, where we are in terms of the current trend and historical trends. What are the major causes explaining those fundamental issues? And what are the systemic impacts showing that when something moves in one subject, it has a lot of systemic interlinkages with other subjects. When climate is changing, as we all know, there are multiple systemic impacts on health, on the economy, on biodiversity, and many others. So this is this domain of knowledge that we are conveying as a common language, the common language that anyone should speak to be able to understand what sustainability is about and to act on sustainability. Now I will pass it on to Estela to explain you in details how does task work.
Thank you, Ahilia, and hello, everybody. My name is Estella, and I work at Sulitest as an account manager, so supporting the universities who are part of our community in the deployment of task. So now that Ahilia shared with you what task is and what's the purpose and why we create a task, I just wanted to give you a little bit more tangible insights into how task really works in practice. So really rolling out a task, it's, of course, it is an effort to work with the university and figuring out when you want to integrate that into a program and kind of getting those approvals and things like that. But when it comes to the platform, we try to make it very, very easy for you to deploy the tool. So in practice, you know, if an institution is rolling out tasks, they will be inviting their staff, professors, and primarily students to take task, which is done through our online platform. And when we say take task, it's answering to this exam of sustainability knowledge. It is asynchronous, so you don't need to gather your students into one room. They can do it in their own time. And they will be answering to 112 multiple choice questions about sustainability, about the framework that Ohidia was describing to you in 80 minutes or so. And then after a session has ended, after the time frame in which you invited them to answer to this assessment has ended, each participant will be receiving their results. You can see on the left a little bit how that looks like. And then you as an institution would also be receiving the results of your cohort. These results are going to be sharing the score for each of the different subjects the task is addressing. So again, from climate change to gender equality to how business is a lever for sustainability. And you see that for each of the different subjects, you'll be seeing that for also the 3 different frameworks that we are addressing for the different types of knowledge. So what is the result to the questions of key concepts and trends, and what is the result and the score of that particular cohort to the questions that were about interlinkages, and of course see a global overall session. And as I said, you will be seeing that from your students, but they can also see their individual scores really broken down, so they can have, you know, a really good idea of where are their strengths and where are the areas in which they can improve as well, besides having access to their certificate. And something that we are quite proud as well to be launching in the next month is that while having a snapshot of a particular cohort at a given point in time is very interesting, what we really also want to equip institutions is with the insight of how maybe one group is compared to another. How has a group evolved over time? So we are going to be launching in the platform in a month. Some data visualization dashboards are going to be available, so that's going to enable institutions to see the score progression both in like a table and like a chronological chart views, see a little bit more results per theme or subject per SDG, compare sessions as well. So really making that data talk, right? You're in that assessment, there's a lot of data being collected, so we're really hoping to help to really unlock those data insights. You're going to be able to benchmark as well. So seeing how the results of your institution is compared to the global average, to a country average, and so on. And that obviously is going to become more and more important and viable once more institutions are joining the task community. And then again, play with filters of, you know, seeing perhaps how is the entry and exit. So if you're assessing your students at the beginning and at the end of a program, how is that kind of influencing their scores in the assessment? So then again, Task is really providing you that standardized and comparable picture of sustainability knowledge, and that can be used in many different ways to inform pedagogical strategy and, again, to demonstrate the impact. So we're quite excited to be seeing, hopefully, those curves going up as time goes on. And as we said, besides kind of giving the insights to the institutions who are using Task, Task is also providing the insights to their students and a certificate to their students and the participants of the assessment. And that for us is really insightful as well to see those scores being shared on LinkedIn. So Task is acting as like a sustainability micro-credential, and it's really exciting for us to be seeing students sharing that on their LinkedIn, not only students, but also professionals and professors sharing that on their LinkedIn and sharing about the things that they found surprising, the things they want to learn more, and the commitment of working in the industry. So we really hope that this certificate is also helping them feel more empowered to really indeed take their career in a sustainable direction. And then, you know, while there are many different ways of integrating Task into a different program, what we see and what we in a way really encourage as well is to use Task as an entry and exit, as a comparable assessment. So if we're looking at a program and thinking about perhaps having an entry assessment and then an exit assessment, that's how most of our community is intending to use Task. They're using that entry assessment to really inform perhaps their curriculum in the following years, and then using that exit assessment to have a comparable picture, and then again to hopefully have a better score for the students to share on their LinkedIn channels. And then obviously there's a lot of change that are happening in that middle, right? I think ultimately we really want to, we hope that this assessment is empowering and encouraging universities to bring more sustainability into their curriculum, into their classrooms, so then to perhaps help students get ready for that first assessment. We have a few tools that institutions can use to raise awareness. So we have Enter to Task, which is a compilation of video resources meant to introduce students to Task, to what Task covers. We have also our other sustainability literacy tools that can be used as well to engage students in the sustainability conversation. And then also to support that change in the curriculum, we also designed a couple resources so for example, a mapping of learning objectives and a couple of other materials to really support universities and schools, not only with the insights of the diagnostic, but of Task as a diagnostic, but also with providing a framework of the direction that we want to go together, so that hopefully at that exit assessment before graduation, students will have a higher score. And I said community a couple of times and as we were presenting Task, and this is something that we really want to nurture. So we have the way that we offer Task primarily is through what we call the Change Leader program. These are institutions that are really, you know, they share our vision and they're committed to also be mainstream sustainability literacy across their programs with their student body. These universities, they have unlimited use of Task because they use Task as a subscription. And this is really interesting, especially if they want to be engaging staff, if they wanted to be doing entry and exit assessment. It's really the unlimited use of Task really makes that viable. And something that as this community grows, we really want to nurture is a community of practice and exchange of best practices as well. And learning from how different institutions are not only integrating Task, but advancing their own sustainability education strategy. And this is something that for us, it has been very inspiring since the very beginning of Sulitest, and now it's even more so with Task. So in that spirit as well, I would like to invite Alison Bailey, who's a professor at the University of Sussex Business School. I've been working with Alison for many, many years. as her institution used our Sulitest tools, and Alison has been playing a pivotal role in deploying task at the University of Sussex Business School. So Alison, the floor is yours to share the experience of your institution.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen, if that's okay. So yes, my name's Alison Bailey. I'm a senior lecturer, not a professor, but I'm a senior lecturer at the University of Sussex Business School. And we introduced task last year. Our vision, as you know, you can see on the screen, is to become one of the most sustainable universities in the world. So it's a big ask, isn't it? And our sustainability strategy suggests or states that we want to embed sustainability into all aspects of student learning and experience. And we did begin to do that with the Sulitest awareness certificate a number of years ago. We ranked, you know, our rankings are, so you can see on the screen, we're 50th on the Times Higher and 26th in the QS ranking. And obviously that's something we want to maintain. So being able to work with Sulitest implementing task is actually really, really important. And our sustainability vision is about making students partners and innovators in sustainable development, and we do that a lot. You know, we have amazing research at Sussex. For example, I was speaking to a student the other day who's working with their lecturer to look at pollution along an area of the south coast in the UK, and they're looking at ways to reduce this. So this is in our social policy and research unit. There are amazing things going on, and you know, within our university, as I'm sure in most universities, all modules are required to include sustainability, and staff are required to report on this. In addition, we have you know, very strong EDI policies throughout the university, and you know, so we're very, very, very sustainability focused. And so again, this was a really good opportunity for us. Now, the procurement of task was quite, you know, it was quite a long process. It doesn't look very long because it actually started in April and we achieved it in November, with the first cohort taking task in November 23. But it was quite a long process. And if anyone is thinking of, you know, running the task certificate, you need to bear that in mind. It does take some time to put the certificate through. I think the problems that we had mainly were around which students do we include in task, and with GDPR, that's the real issue that we had. So that's just, you know, a heads up, I suppose. But as I said, we had the first cohort take the task certificate in November. We've only been running for 5 months. I think I might have missed a slide, actually. Hold on a second. Yes, I have. I do apologise. Before task, we ran the Sulitest awareness test, and we ran this for a number of years, and we only ran this in a year 1 module. It was the year 1 first semester module, and we ran it in a big core module, Introduction to Business and Management. We have about 700 students on that module, and the students really liked taking the test. We really liked the students to take the test because we delivered information about sustainability within the module, and students actually got something out of it. But one of the criticisms was that they didn't have a certificate. Now, task does have a certificate, which is a really strong selling point for you know, for running tasks. Students want a certificate. They want to put it on their LinkedIn and profile. They want to put it on their CVs, and this has been communicated again and again and again by our students over the past 3 years. And you can see that our students actually did really well in the Sulitest test, you know, scoring above average, which we were particularly pleased about. So again, that gave us more reason to want to, you know, go, you know, implement the task certificate. We were also involved with theory of change processes, and it fitted in beautifully. I mean, I'm sure some academic work is going to come out of this, looking at how we actually embedded task within the business school, you know, backward mapping, trying to identify, you know, the requirements, the preconditions that were in place, and determining what resources were needed, who was going to run it, the administrative support we needed, the media support, the IT support, getting the teaching staff on board. There were lots and lots of different people that we had to get involved to be able to implement this in the first place. And also we had to look at resistance to change as well, because some people don't like changing modules. If we're asking staff to make changes to assessments or to content, we have to give staff time to do that. And we have to think of interventions to support staff as well. We had lots of meetings with key personnel, teachers, professional staff, and there are a lot of people involved in implementing tasks through the business school. So we have approximately 1,395 students who we believe will take task in year 3. So we have to get 75% of our business school graduating students to have achieved the task certificate in year 3. And this is roughly the number that we're going to be working with, depending on intake. I mean, we can't say exactly. So what we're doing in year 1, we are still going to run tasks through the Introduction to Business core module. It's a huge module. Most students from the University of Sussex Business School go on to that module. It works really, really well because students have to set up a business in the second half of the term. In the first half of the term, we talk about various aspects around management and business, including sustainability. We talk about the SDGs. In the second half of the term, when they're running their business, they have to apply the SDGs. They have to decide which ones they're going to use and how they're going to implement them within their business. And then the students have to present those their presentations to staff to obviously achieve an assessment grade. So we run task here, and this is really nice because it's entry level and we get some idea of the knowledge the students have at this point. Okay. Last year, we had 97% of students take the task certificate, and we're offering it again in May for those students who didn't take it, because actually the students who didn't take it for whatever reason have asked us if they can take it, which is really good news. We're going to allow them to do that. And then from April, so it was Monday actually, it opened, we offered our year 3 and master students the opportunity to take tasks. And how we did this, we basically contacted module conveners and asked them to inform their students what task was and the benefits of it. I also have been doing drop-ins at lectures and promoting the task module as well. And we have one test for each cohort, so they can log on very easily, and it keeps it separate for me so I can see who is taking what, how many master students have taken it, how many year 3 students have taken it. So far, we've got, I think, 39 year 3 students, 43 master students. That's from Monday, but at the moment those students are currently involved in other assessments, so that I believe will speed up next week. Okay, so that's how we're doing it now. We couldn't do it in a more formal way simply because we hadn't gone through the process of embedding tasks through modules and going through the process of board of study and formal module changes. So we've had to offer task in this way at the moment, but from September going forward we're going to be doing it differently. So we're going to stick with year 1 as having the core module through Introduction to Business and Management. But what we're doing for year 3 students is we are creating non-credit bearing modules for each of the subject areas, the departmental areas within Sussex. And in week 2 of year 3, we are running a sustainability week. So what will happen in all of the core modules, students will start off with the task test, and then in the remainder of the module, they will have discussions with their tutor about various sustainability issues within their module, just really to see how sustainability sits within that module. And hopefully some co-created projects will come out of that. The master's students, it's slightly different. Master students will take the task certificate through dissertation and project core modules at the end of the module, end of the year. So they'll take it once. Our year 3 students will have taken it twice. Now we're hoping the master students will do it as well in their introductory week. So again, that's something that I'm hoping that we can pushed through, then we will have master students taking the task certificate twice. But at the moment, currently, we are putting it in the dissertation or project modules at the end or towards the end of the course. But watch this space, because we're changing literally as we speak. So task for us is a really fantastic initiative. Sulitest awareness test was a really fantastic initiative. We have so many sustainability initiatives running at Sussex generally. This is just 2 weeks of initiatives. You can see Climate Fresh, Green Futures events, lots of things happening. So for us, task is absolutely brilliant. Okay, I think I'm finished, Estella.
Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing that your experience. And I think this is a really good, again, case study, not only of, as I said, not only of integrating tasks, but really, doing all the different elements that that education for sustainability as a whole kind of needs. And thanks so much for leading that coalition of change inside the institution and bringing on board different colleagues. Before we open for questions, I just wanted to share again that this webinar is also an invitation for you to be joining the change leader community. Many different Prime signatories are part of this community, and we're very happy as well to be partnering with Prime. So Prime signatories are eligible for a discount on the Task Change Leader program, and we are really grateful for the long-term partnership we have with Prime and to be offering this as well to the Prime community. So yeah, we can close from our side here and we can start answering to some questions. I see some things are coming up in the chat and on the Q&A function as well. So reading this one, hi, I'm Shika from XLR India. My question is it considered as an indirect assessment or direct assessment? As you mentioned, it could be used for accreditation and ranking. So perhaps, Ohelia, would you like to answer to that question?
Yeah. With pleasure, and thank you for this question. Task is really an assessment of sustainability knowledge, not for direct assessment of a specific course, for example, or a specific a specific learning, but it's really meant to be to build the common language of sustainability. So it's more used, I think, if I understand correctly the question, and this is the sense of your question, as an indirect assessment, which is in a way a revelator, or which illustrates the learning journey of your students and how they will learn from their courses, they will learn from the students' experience, they will learn from their internship, their projects, all along the learning pathway to gain better understanding of sustainability and to gain better knowledge on how to act on sustainability. So task is really meant for that. So of course, as you saw in the systemic domain of knowledge that we are conveying, no specific course will grasp everything that is in the domain of knowledge of task, tapping into Earth systems, planetary boundaries, as well as social foundations such as food, nutrition, social equity, as well as how to act on sustainability. So task is really about this systemic approach of sustainability knowledge that students will learn all along their learning journey, and I would even say as a lifelong learner, even for adult education, when you are graduating from higher education. And task provide a psychometric assessment. So again, you can learn from our documentation, our website, all the statistical backend of task, which ensure that this is a reliable measure of sustainability knowledge, but meant to reveal everything that you learn along the learning pathway. So building on the example of you mentioned Alison at Sussex, from from the bachelor level to the master level to the graduation. You will have a global score reflecting your systemic understanding of sustainability, and you will also have the granularity of the score. So depending on the special courses, special masters that you have in-house, probably some of the topics that are covered by task will improve more than the other over time, and you are able to track this also. I have a good example for ESCP, another French business school, sorry, in France, using task at the master level, at the entry of the master as a choice for electives. So depending on the score and on the topic covered by task, the students are able to choose in which elective they need to learn, because they need to learn more on that specific topic among the domain of knowledge. So that's another example. So it's to come back to the question, and then I let the other question come. It's not a direct assessment of a specific course. For example, it can be used as a modality if you have a core sustainability course, but I would suggest not use task only for this, but really as a reliable indicator to track progress all along the learning pathway.
Thank you. Another question came through. My organization is very new to teaching sustainability. Do you provide recommendations or resources to support integrating the various elements of sustainability into already existing or new course modules? So perhaps, Aurélie, I'll share about the intro to task, and then you can go forward with the resource hub. So we do offer some recommendations and some resources. One of the resources we offer is called Intro to Task. Again, as I said, it's a compilation of videos resources. So it would take around, if students are going through all the videos, it would take them around 5 hours to go through it. And it goes both from like explaining sustainability at a higher level, explaining the planetary boundaries and those frameworks, into explaining some different subjects that the assessment is covering. So this is a really good resource either for you as a university to kind of pick from that and put that into your own modules, or for you to kind of offer as it is, as the intro to task. We have it 4 different sections in it, so you can either pick from it or offer as it is. It's not comprehensive because we can't say that you're going to learn everything about sustainability in just 5 hours, but it is a good material to get your students started. And I think the idea for us to develop that as well is that obviously we do want sustainability to be put into the course rather than just be a separate resource offered to the student outside of the classroom. But we know that all of that takes time. So it's also an opportunity for you to be improving their knowledge while the work is being done to actually bring sustainability to the standard curriculum of the universities. And Alison, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you offer a task for the year 3 and master students, they have access to that intro to task, right? To get prepped with it.
They absolutely do, and they really use it as well. And that's another reason why some of the students, or a lot of the students, haven't taken the task certificate so far, because they are actually working through the material. I think there's some test anxiety. They don't want to do it unless they feel they have the knowledge to do it. And I said, you can just do it. And they're like, no, we want to see the resources. So yeah, they're very, very useful.
So Hilde, do you want to share more about the navigational charts as well?
Yeah, thank you, Estela. That's one of the impact that we want to have. We want to equip educators. We know that, the first time your students or yourself will take task, you will not be able to answer everything, and that's okay, because no one is. That's the case for everyone. If you dive into the domain of knowledge, you will see that it's perfectly normal, and by the way, the world would probably be in better shape if everyone knew everything about the task domain of knowledge. So it's really okay. But having said that, we should provide the relevant resources to have this impact on the curriculum and the educator to be able to map the existing, because there are already existing courses in every business schools addressing some of this topic, and to address the gaps. So in the resource hub of task, you will also find what we call the navigational chart, which is really the map that you need to dive into the matrix of the domain of knowledge. As I was mentioning, we have 28 subjects tapping into Earth system, social foundation, levels of actions. And for each of these subjects, we have mapped the key topics, the key themes that are covered, the main resources, what are the resources that you need to learn about this topic, and we give example of articulating those topic and resources into learning objectives. So in a way, this is the map that we want in the hand of every educators when they work on their syllabi, on designing their courses. They are able to map their own in-house learning objectives with the depth of the task matrix. So this is one important resources to connect to your in-house learning objectives, a set of competency goals, for example. And we also provide some mapping of alignment with the big competency framework, the UNESCO Learning Goals for Sustainable Development, for example, the European Green Comp, European Framework of Competencies for Sustainability. We also provide support and mapping to connect the domain of knowledge to these big frameworks.
Yeah, and maybe just very quickly as well to add on that, task is meant to complement Prime as much as Prime is meant to complement task and what Sulitest is doing. And so from our side as well, we do have resources to help with this, and also to say congrats on beginning to incorporate sustainability into your education. One of our tools that gets used most often is our SDG blueprint, which is really kind of a framework and a guide for higher education institutions to implement the SDGs. And if you don't know what the SDGs are, these are the 17 goals set by the UN, the Sustainable Development Goals. And that includes, in our blueprint, it includes how to incorporate it into your curriculum, into your research, as well as partnerships that can advance that. And we have a database of various examples from our community as well, just kind of to see how that works practically. So I'll add that link in there. But these all kind of work together to help these schools on this kind of sustainability journey.
Awesome. Yeah, there's I feel like this space of education for sustainability has it's so rich in terms of resources. So it's really good to have that from Prime as well. And we're from our side, and I think that's the shared spirit that we have with Prime, is that we're really building this as we go as well with our community. So the navigational charts, the intro to task, that's it's been kind of listening to the community and listening to what they need. So surely these resources will continue to grow and to cross-reference in a way. Another question kind of came in the chat: how many times individuals are allowed to attempt this quiz, this assessment? So individuals in practice, they can take the assessment as in theory, there's no limitation to that. It really depends on the strategy for the institution to offer and to send that invitation. So the way that the platform is built is that as a moderator will invite a candidate to take the assessment, and is only then that the candidate will be able to take the assessment. So a university might be like Sussex, be inviting them in year 1 and in year 3. We know that some institutions might offer it just in year 3 as like a first try, and then they can allow the students some time and space to learn more and then redo the assessment. So then really they can take that more than once. Just sharing a little bit more when it comes to how does the certificate look like? Task is not designed to be a pass or fail. We really want people to be seeing their knowledge increase. So the certificate is really stating the score that they got in that assessment. So again, it's not a pass or fail. It is a number representation out of 100 that is showcasing their score. Let me see more questions in the chat. Question for Alison in the Q&A. Have you seen it positively impact THE Sustainability Impact Rankings, QS Sustainability Impact Rankings?
Well, we're doing that at the moment. We're obviously we've only been running it for 5 months, but when I was speaking to the lady who deals with our rankings, she was very, very excited, hugely excited to see Task. And she's actually presenting at our Festival of Sustainability, which is encouraging everyone to report, the sustainability contributions to their modules. So in terms of the university, they're hugely excited about having Task, and I think it will have quite an impact on our rankings.
Awesome.
And it just very quickly from the Sulitest side, this is one of the other impact that we want to have, being providing not on the whole scope, but on the specific aspect that sustainability knowledge is, providing trusted data for those rankings and accreditation body. So of course, we are just starting, but for the QS sustainability ranking this year, if you applied, you probably saw that there is a question about measuring assessing sustainability knowledge and the use of task as an option to do that and to report on rankings and accreditations.
So a question coming in the chat regarding English version of the presentation material. We will be sending the slides we shared today after this webinar, so it will be available for you. Question came in the Q&A section regarding fees, of how much it costs to integrate task into the modules. The fees are really associated with the size of the university, so we don't have a fixed price, because we know that institutions have different sizes. We wouldn't like to charge the same thing a small university and a big one. So I encourage you to get in touch with us. I'll put my email on the chat, and then we can I can share with you how that would look like for your specific context as well.
And linking maybe to another question of the chat, the Change Leader program that you are referring to, Estella, is really based on an annual membership calculated on the size of university, which is disconnected from the number of tests taken. So about the question of how many times can someone take the test, this is a way of calibrating at the university level. Of course, an individual student will not be able to take the test every day during 3 months, but the university is allowed to organize the session of the test at different points in time, several times in the same year. I would not recommend that, but having that 2 or 3 times in a bachelor level or in a master level is feasible, because the membership is again calculated on an annual basis regardless of the number of tests taken, which is a way of really organizing how the assessment will be plugged into the pedagogical journey of the students, depending on the context specific to every business schools. And the second part of this question was about a kind of simulation. So we have these rising awareness tools that Estella was mentioning, which are different from Task. And Task is really the big exam, 112 questions, 80 minutes, delivering a certificate. But the assessment, the awareness test, sorry, is a shorter version based on the same structure as Task, and can be coming with learning statements for every question. So it's kind of a way of approaching the evaluation, the assessment, with a lighter tool to be put in the classroom or in the pedagogy.
Everyone, please feel free to keep putting questions on the chat, but I wanted to ask a question to Alison. You mentioned that even before the signing for the Change Leader program, and after, you did a lot of work presenting the idea to colleagues and trying to get people on board, not only integrating the assessment, but in educating for sustainability more generally. What were what were the good levers you found in that? What were the best practices that you found in that effort of kind of convincing colleagues to come on board? And you're welcome to share as well, like the challenges and like what worked and what didn't in trying to bring people on board the Task Change Leader program.
Yeah, I think it was actually meeting with people individually and talking through the benefits. I initially sent an email out suggesting that we bring in the Sulitest awareness test and task, on both of those, and it didn't work. It was just more work for staff, and that's how they saw it. They had to change modules, they had to go off and prepare something else, and they didn't quite see where it necessarily fitted. And I think what's helped as well has been a huge push on sustainability. And as Aurélien said, for example, QS now ask about sustainability and task, and it was like a perfect storm, really. It just all happened at the right time. So yeah, it's speaking to staff individually, going into lectures with staff and speaking to students as well has been really, really useful, because you have to promote it to staff, but you also have to get the student body behind it as well. Having top-down support, our Dean, Steve Maguire, is very, very supportive of task and has been from day one, and Sulitest, or the awareness test as well, from day one. So having that communication coming down from the top has been particularly useful as well. And also, I think having the professional services team, because the professional services team basically keep the business school running, and having them on board and communicating it to other professional service teams and to other members of staff, and putting structures and support in place has been really, really valuable. So definitely not just send an email. Don't do that. Won't work.
Thank you. Any other questions from the community, or Cheyenne or Helia? Okay, question came in. Can you share a sample of the multiple choice questions we ask? So we actually have a task demo. So it's only 9 is a selection of 9 questions that are similar to what we offer in the assessment. So again, if you contact me, I can invite you to that demo. And then it's nice because you're going to be able to experience the whole the task platform. You're going to be answering through the platform, and then at the end of those 9 questions, you're going to have a sample results report, so then you see as well how the results look like. So we're happy to share that with you, and I can either send you an invitation for that demo. We can kind of go through the platform together, so that you see how it works in practice. So for anyone that is interested in taking that demo, feel free to contact me. Put my email in the chat. And then I'll send you, we can organize that. Awesome.
I see that we have few minutes, maybe an open question, but I can ask you, Alison, probably. As a former faculty myself, I know that one of the challenges is also to engage the faculty in this effort to embed sustainability. So I was wondering, I see that in a lot of schools and university as a challenge, and at the same time as a way to embed tasks through the pedagogy. What was the reactions, or how does the faculty react to all the sustainability plan that you explained, and maybe more specifically to the integration of task?
I would say actually a lot of members of staff are very positive because they can see how sustainability fits within their module and they can see how task fits within that. And because we're not asking them to change assessments, they're happy with that. I think if we were saying to staff, change your assessments to include task or change your module in some other way, that would be more problematic because of the timescales. So they're very positive about task generally. We have, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but part of our strategy suggests that every student at Sussex University will take a core sustainability module. I'm assuming at year one. This is in the planning stage at the moment. This will be whole university, the whole cohort, which is obviously had the impacts for task. And what we would be planning to do would be to put the task certificate through that module if that gets off the ground. So in a way that would take it out of the modules that we have in the business school, which I think is actually a shame if that does happen, because it encourages staff to look at their modules and to identify how can we put sustainability through this module? I mean, some modules, they haven't done that, and it's something that we need to do in all modules. So for me, it's a benefit, and generally speaking, the staff, occasionally there are challenges with members of staff who just do not want to change. Maybe they've been teaching the same thing for decades, and the thought of having to change anything is quite difficult. But I think on the whole, the staff at Sussex are very open to sustainability, and they recognise that task is a benefit. And I think actually we're really intrigued to see the data that comes from task. I haven't seen it yet because obviously it's not available, but I think that's going to be really, really interesting when we start looking at what students knew before and what they knew after, and where they're particularly strong. And students actually have been, my year ones were very interested in what the feedback said to them. I had students saying, oh, does it mean I'm not very good in this particular area? And I'm saying to them, no, not at all. No, it's just that you're stronger in other areas, and this is maybe something that you could develop further. And so there's a whole host of conversations with students and staff that can come out of there. I think it's been really interesting. I think staff will enjoy it once it's embedded. But as I said, we've only been going for 5 months. We're not there yet.
Well, thank you very much for your answer. And yes, this is the beginning of the journey for sure. As Estella mentioned, we have this community of change leaders who are starting to use task and to deploy task across programs. We want to learn from each other and to allow change leaders to learn from their peers. So yeah, I guess join us in this journey, and the more change leader we are, the faster we will reach sustainability literacy as the new mainstream.
Yeah, I see we do have one more question from Nada asking how many other universities have integrated task in the past 5 months. Do you guys have those numbers?
Precisely in the past 5 months, I don't know specifically for those 5 months, but so far we have 35 universities as part of the Change Leader program, and we have around 20 other universities that are using task as perhaps like a pilot project. So the community has over 50 institutions now. Majority of them, I would say, 2/3 perhaps are business schools, but we also have transdisciplinary universities and engineering schools as well, part of the community. So it's quite encouraging to see that diversity. And yeah, we're very happy to, task completed 1 year anniversary a month ago. And we're very happy to see the community growing, not only in terms of numbers, but in terms of countries. So we have now, I think, 11 or 12 countries represented in our community, and we're really excited to see that growing as well.
Yeah, and maybe as a very in the last minute, I might ask those who are still online to use the raise hand function if you're interested in taking this back and considering using a task in your university. Cool, very fun. Excellent. I think we have one final question asking if there's any presence in India.
We have a Jindao institution who we are in the final steps of having them onboarding them. So they are our first user in India. But we really hope to see that growing, because I think that would also add to the richness of the data and the benchmarking. So yeah, if you're interested, we're happy to talk with you to bring that to your institution as well.
Great. Thank you all very much for joining. As we mentioned, we'll send out the recording, the slides. I'll make sure to include Estelle and Aurelian's email so that you can reach out for those demos or more questions. But yes, we really appreciate all of you, and thank you to Alison, Estelle, and Aurelian for giving this demonstration and the perspective. Alison from Sussex, really informative and happy to have this opportunity. So have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.